Hey guys, me Ryan from Ryan Studios. I am back with another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing the third and fourth episode of The Mandalorian. And now let me just tell you my little, like a two-word thought and opinions on each episode. The third episode was God tier. I absolutely loved it, and the fourth episode, it was okay. It reminded me of a few things which I'll get into later, but it wasn't my favorite. I would say it was my least favorite of the four. Yet again, I still enjoyed it. So basically, the third episode, it starts off. He's going back to whatever planet he was on in the first episode to give the bounty, which is Baby Yoda, to the client, which we don't know his name, and the scientist for the Imperial thing. So he gives away the baby after kind of a little tour of the city, and then they take it away. The baby starts crying. Everyone else starts crying, like people that are watching it. But then he goes to that armory that was in the first episode that has the Mandalorian with the night owl armor. We also got to see some more Mandalorians. One of them was had a super heavy gun. All of them had jetpacks, except the Mandalorian himself, and I think the blacksmith didn't have the jetpack either. So the one was in a bluish kind of armor. He was very bulky, had huge, very thick armor, and a ginormous blaster. That was played by Jon Favreau himself, and he has a lot of Beskar. I think it was 24 kind of pieces of it. He originally got two or whatever, one or two, for the bounty he collected in the first episode, which was that blue guy. I don't know his name or his species, but it's a lot. So he of course from the second episode, that I think it was the Reek. They said it in the third episode. I completely forget what the animal was that destroyed his armor. So he gets new armor. He gets another arm attachment. He gets these whistling birds or whatever, and which we'll get into later. He also gets a huge chest plate, which looks amazing. And I just really love the entire look of the Mandalorian. Kind of depressed that they didn't make a Lego figure of that, but eventually we'll get one. So he walks out. Everyone's jealous into the bar. Mandalorian walks into a bar, and everyone's kind of pissed at him. And he talks to that guy. I don't remember his name, and I don't remember the actor's name at all. It was the guy, and he was like, "Good job." He even got some rewards as well, which he puts the best card back into his kind of chest pocket. And then he asks for more bounties. He collects 3 pucks that are super far away because he wants to get as far away from the planet that they're currently on as possible. So he gets into a ship. So they're in the beginning of the episode, the very beginning, we see Baby Yoda playing with the little ball on the I really don't know what it is, joystick, I guess. And he notices that the ball is off or is missing. I forget. I think it was off. And so he puts it back on, and then he kind of regrets leaving the baby. He also asked the client and the guy from the guild what they're gonna do with the Baby Yoda, because he's kind of concerned, because he kind of was growing little of an attachment with the little baby. So he goes back. You could tell he doesn't take off his helmet or anything. You just know he's pissed. So he goes back, and he jumps up on a roof. He looks through his scope on his rifle and puts his I think it was advanced hearing thing on his helmet, and he kind of eavesdrops on them, and they said, oh, we're gonna extract something, which might be the Force, because in the second episode we see him use the Baby Yoda use the Force, and now we don't know if this is a clone of Yoda directly or what. We just don't know anything. So he proceeds. He knocks on the door. And then that thing that pops out from Jabba's palace, he grabs that, he rips it out, and then he runs away. The 2 stormtroopers from the beginning in the other episodes run out, and they're like, what the hell happened? And then he just blows up one of the walls. He walks inside, and then just sorry, the heating's coming on. Then he just blows a hole in the wall, kills all the stormtroopers. I think he snaps one of their necks, actually. And then he goes on to the next room. I think he uses his rocket flamethrower thing on his arm, and so then he gets the baby. He's not, and the scientist was worried that he was gonna hurt it. He said he wasn't gonna hurt it, obviously he wouldn't. And then he goes, and there's like 12 not 12, but a decent amount of stormtroopers just piles around him, and then he uses his whistling bells. I think it's whistling bells, which are like little things that just. It's like if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, you'll know what I'm talking about. Where Yondu has that arrow that he whistles. It's kind of like that, but a bunch. He has like 20 maybe in his little wrist. They're super small, and they just fly out and hit everybody. And I don't know if it kills them. It probably doesn't kill them, but either way, he just gets rid of them. And then he leaves, and then eventually you see a shot of all of the bounty hunters that were in the bar, which have their fobs, which are like a tracking device, and they all start glowing, and we're assuming that obviously they put out the Empire put out a bounty for the Mandalorian, and then he gets stopped. He just gets stopped by like 20 bounty hunters, or at least probably more at this point, and the guy that had that was giving him all the bounties. And then after that, he goes and he kind of kills most of them. I would say at least half. And then he's kind of cornered. He has the baby in his arms. He's trying to shoot his way out, which obviously he can't do because it's like 30v1. And then when all hope is lost, all of the Mandalorians that were kind of actually pissed with him in the beginning because they don't have all the Beskar, and they say how he's kind of like a coward going out and making money for himself because there's nothing else to do, which was proved by that he's not a coward because obviously he's doing this for someone else's good, which is the baby's and not his own. So they all just help him. You even get the heavy guy. I don't know. I'm just gonna call him Heavy, and that was played by Jon Favreau, and he just kills everybody with his big. It's kind of like a chain gun kind of, and then he escapes. The guy that was giving out the bounties stops and jumps out of off the ship of his off of the Mandalorian's Razor Crest, and then he holds a gun to his face, like from far away, and then he turns on the Mandalorian turns on the carbon freezing thing and kind of points it at the guy, and then he shoots at him. The guy we think he's dead, but he's really the Beskar that was given to him because he said in the episode, "Even I'm rich." And that was kind of blocking him getting hit from the blaster bolts, so he lives. We don't know what happened to him. The 4th episode, it starts off like a little town, like a little village that's very poor. They fish and stuff. They got attacked by a bunch of Klatooinian raiders, which is from the Lego set, and then there's like an AT-ST that was shooting rockets from the back, and then you see the Mando and Baby Yoda land on that planet. They go to a bar yet again. Then you see Cara Dune, who is a new character, who said she's a ex-shock trooper for the Republic. I think the Republic. I was getting confused. She said Republic, and then I think she said Empire. I'm really not sure, but they fight each other. You see Baby Yoda drink his little soup, which is now a meme, and then they go to the village, and they try helping them fight back to the AT-ST and all the Klatooinian raiders. It was kind of a boring episode, but it did heavily remind me of Lord of the Rings, especially with the orcs, or the Klatooinian raiders, which are the orcs. It definitely reminded me of that. I was like, wow, that really reminds me. And plus, they look like it too. The Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings, that's what they remind me of. And then also, it reminded me of the Clone Wars. Just the one episode where I think it was like Ahsoka and Anakin and the one other Jedi. Anakin's like hurt or whatever, and because one of their ships crashed, so then they get help from the monkeys or whatever, and they have to fight back the battle droids. That's what it reminds me of. And they're like super peaceful people and all that. And then then the episode ends with a bounty hunter. He's about to snipe Baby Yoda and also the Mandalorian. What's her face? Cara Dune then kills the guy, and they realize that they can't stay here. Cara Dune, I think we're not going to see her again. Maybe for like the last episode or maybe the next season. But I was kind of surprised that she didn't stick around. Same with the I've Spoken dude from the from the first and second episode. Like I was surprised that I guess it's just going to be the Baby Yoda show with featuring the Mandalorian, which is now memes because Baby Yoda is getting more attention than the Mandalorian himself. So Mandalorian and Baby Yoda just stay together, leave the planet. We don't know where they're going. So not much to take away from that. I still don't know where they're going after this episode. I was kind of in the same position after the third episode. But yeah, so if I were to rate them from worst to best, I would say the fourth episode, the second episode, the first episode, and then the third episode, which is the best. So yeah, so two Thursdays from now, which is I think the Thursday before the Rise of Skywalker comes out. No, 2 Thursdays before the Rise of Skywalker come out will be the where I review the fifth and sixth episode, and then of course I think the Thursday after Christmas, which it might be the day after Christmas. I just review the entire season in whole. So yeah, that's kind of it for this video, guys. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.